Hey everybody, it's John with Homesteading from Scratch here, and today I'm going to be attempting to do something that I've never done before. So a few days ago, I saw a video by another YouTuber, William, the permaculture consultant, and which, by the way, if you have any interest in growing stuff or raising your own animals or anything for food, check out his videos. Great information. Him and his parents, both his parents have a channel, Permapasture Farms, I believe it is. But anyway, in this video, what he was talking about is if you enjoy to grow fruit trees and want to have more fruit trees, instead of purchasing fruit trees and then planting them on your property, purchasing rootstock for the fruit trees and growing that, and then you can order cuttings and scions of what particular fruits you want off the internet, graft them to your own rootstock that you have growing, and essentially you get fruit trees enough to fill an orchard or whatever at a low price or for next to nothing. So it got me thinking, when we purchased our property a few years ago, there was an established satsuma tree here on the property, which was amazing. This particular tree made hundreds of some of the most amazing satsumas I've ever had. Well, due to some weather events, we had a hurricane shortly after. The following winter, we had a pretty hard freeze, and it actually killed the tree, and I just couldn't bring myself to cut it down or burn it or get rid of it or anything like that. And over time, when the actual tree itself started to rot, the rootstock from the bottom of that tree started growing up. So now, flip you around real quick. So now I've got what looks like a beautiful citrus tree, but it is all rootstock. And you can tell if you look close at some of these branches, you can see the thorns coming off of every single limb here. It's all rootstock. So I dug into it a little bit more, watched a couple more videos. There's a couple different ways you can actually propagate some of this rootstock. You can either take cuttings from the tree and plant those to grow those, or you could do what's called air layering, where you basically come to a healthy branch, you strip off a section of bark, put a little rooting compound, some soil, and you contain it and wrap it real tight, and eventually roots will start to form off of that branch, and then you can cut the branch and then plant that whole branch, and it'll develop as a tree basically. So today I think I'm just going to work on taking some cuttings from it and see if I can't get something to work that way. Now unfortunately, this isn't going to be where by the end of the video you'll see that everything worked, but it's the process with which I'm going to do it. And if nothing else, if you're interested in this sort of thing and you can see that, hey, this does work, or hey, this doesn't work, so if you go to try it and what I do is a complete failure, don't do what I do. You never know. Now, from what I've seen, a lot of people, what they'll do is as these shoots start to grow off the bottom of the tree, they'll look more like these smaller branches here, and they'll come out kind of thin, and that's what they'll cut off and use. Unfortunately, I've let this go a little too long, so I don't have any fresh shoots coming off the bottom where the rootstock is coming out of the ground. So what I'm going to attempt to do, and again, I'm not sure if this is going to work, is just try to take some of these healthier looking limbs and take some of these and cut these off and see if maybe I can't get something to happen with that. So I'm going to go ahead and remove some of these limbs, pick out some of the better ones, some that I think may do well, I don't know, and then we'll go from there and see what happens. And then once I remove those, then we'll work on prepping them and getting them ready to plant and secure to develop some new roots off of them. All right, I think I got enough to get started. See how it goes. So these are the 3 citrus trees that I currently have. I've got a satsuma, a blood orange, and a grapefruit. And if those rootstock cuttings develop roots and actually grow, then I want to try taking some cuttings from these 3 and grafting them to that rootstock and see if I can't get some additional trees. So that's the purpose of me trying to propagate some of the rootstock to see if I can get more rootstock to grow. Alright, so I've got my cuttings now. So I'll be prepping these and getting these ready to plant. But before I do that, I saw another video where a guy who was doing this, he had a really great idea where he took some of these clear cups and just drilled some holes in the bottom of one for drainage, put his potting soil in there, planted his cuttings, and then he put another cup on top of it and sealed it off with some tape to kind of create a little greenhouse effect that he stored them in for, I want to say it was like 2 months or something like that, until it started to root out. Then once it started to root out, then he took them out of these and he put them in other pots to give them more room for the roots to expand. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to prep, I guess, 3 of these cups, because I figure I could probably get maybe 2 cuttings in each cup. So I'll prep 3 of these, get the holes drilled in them and get them ready, and then we'll work on our actual cuttings. You know, I think about it, if I was smarter, I would have put all 3 of these together and just drilled them one time. But almost done now, so it is what it is, I guess, right? Alright, so I got those done. I'll go ahead and get my soil in the cups, get that ready. Pretty good. One good thing about leaving some soil in the back of your truck and when it rains on it for almost 2 days is it's pretty moistened. So that little added benefit, I guess. Life hack, if you're going to be planting, just leave your soil in your truck until it rains, I guess. I don't know. Alright, so now cutters in it to prep the branches. So what I was seeing is the ideal length that you want is somewhere between 6 to 8 inches long, I believe it is. And you want to cut below a node and above a node. And you want to remove any excess growth on it, like the thorns and leaves and things like that. So let's see what we get here. Let's cut this off. Okay. And then we'll take off these leaves and thorns. There's a lot of those. Avoid that. It's kind of ugly. I don't know how well that's going to work, but I guess we all see, huh? My finger's out of the way. That. That. Now I did see where it said you wanted to leave some leaves on here to help the photosynthesis of it, to help it develop roots. So we'll take off some of these small ones down here. So that looks pretty good up there, I guess. And I've also got rooting compound here. So I'll take that rooting compound, just kind of dip that in there real quick. And I'll take it and I'll stick it in there. Now hopefully this isn't too tall, which it kind of is, because you don't want it to touch the top. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and cut this just a little bit shorter here. Dip that one into my rooting compound, like so. And I'll plant that, pat that down around it, and that should work. I think I need to take a few more leaves off of here because I don't want it to contact the sides of the cup and get moisture on them and end up rotting. So a few more leaves on here. Pinch those off. Like that. There we go. And then we'll wrap all those up here in a little bit. I'm gonna get a few more of these cut. Alright. So now we got our 3 little greenhouses here. So that's going to be a total of what, 6, 7, 8. 8, if they all work out, that'd be great. We'll have 8 new rootstock plants to plant and grow to generate more rootstock. So now, what we need to do is take 3 more of these cups, put them over the top, and just tape the tops of them, or tape the seams between the 2 cups to try to form a little greenhouse effect. Okay, there we go. There's our little greenhouses. Got our rootstock limbs in there. Got some moisture in there, not too much. Alright, I think we're pretty much wrapped up on this method. So now we just need to take these, put them in a warm location, probably out of the sun, and periodically throughout the day I'll move them into the sun, let them get some sunlight, some UV rays, and hopefully we'll have some new growth coming off of them for some rootstock. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, there's another method you could use called air layering. I'll probably do that next weekend to try that out as well, to see if maybe that doesn't work better than this method. But yeah, and again, unfortunately, you know, I can't bring to you, hey, we did this and this is done just yet. You know, it'll be a little while, but we're definitely gonna do a follow-up video. Whether it succeeds, whether it fails, doesn't matter. I'll do a follow-up video and, you know, dig into it. And if I come across any things that, you know, I did wrong that caused it to fail, then I'll definitely bring that across so everybody's on the same page and understands what happened. But yeah, so until next time, it's all the same from scratch. Thanks for watching. See ya.